Welcome to the many interpretations of Megaloceros, a massive deer that lived during the Pleistocene of what is now Eurasia. Its fossils have been found all the way across Eurasia. You might know them best through the name of the Irish elk. Of course, they are not elk, but they were Irish. A lot of their fossils have been found in Ireland, but their closest modern relatives are actually the fallow deer. The name Irish elk kind of comes from like it's one of its initial discoveries when the antlers were found. They resembled elk antlers, so it was thought that elk were present in Ireland, and so came the name of the Irish elk. Nowadays, it's kind of like just a nickname, but of course, they are not elk. Anyway, this very much fits our theme for Christmas. I hope to get this out on Christmas. If not, it's going to be an after Christmas video, but I'm sure that all of you will know that. But we have some really cool depictions to get into, so let's get right into it. We'll start off all the way back at the beginning, essentially, with the Crystal Palace statues. Megaloceros makes an appearance here, and it looks beautiful. The standard is already set very high because, in actuality, this is extremely close to our understanding of the animal. Megaloceros is an animal that we have a very good understanding of the way that it looks. Of course, we do have the fossil material, but we also do have cave paintings, and that kind of clues us into what it looked like in life, including its colors and things like that. I believe it was also the cave paintings that revealed that Megaloceros had a hump, which is something that you can see right here. You'll see that right in between its shoulders, it kind of goes up like a hump, like humps do. It also has these huge antlers. Of course, these are male ones, but you can see a female one just kind of like lying down over here too. The males, of course, had antlers that could reach about 11 feet in length. That paired with its enormous size, which is it was about like 9 feet tall, 9 or 10 feet tall, makes for just a huge specimen of a deer. But yeah, these statues already capture it in a very good light, I'd say. So we're off to a fantastic start. After that, we have Land of the Mammoths, where we see them in the background. Generally speaking, I'd say that this is pretty good. It feels like it has the whole bulk of Megaloceros while keeping that whole deer feel. The antlers look pretty good, all things considered. I'd say that the colors are probably the thing that are the most off. They do seem a lot more like elk colors, when in actuality, Megaloceros likely had colors that are a lot more similar to this. Kind of like some lighter browns with some black stripes that kind of go towards the back of the animal's body as well as around the neck. Very cool coloration in general, and I'm pretty sure that we will be seeing some of that as the video progresses. Yeah, this is also not a bad start. I mean, it certainly captures the whole idea of Megaloceros pretty well. I don't know. I go back and forth when it comes to those names. I've heard many people call them both, like use both pronunciation, and I can't pinpoint down which one is the best one to use. So you'll probably hear me going back and forth. Then after that, we have Walking with Beasts. They look pretty darn good here too. The colors seem to be quite spot on. My only gripe is that they are a little bit thin, especially during I can't talk, especially during the kind of colder months, like those portions. It's likely like most mammals, they'd have a little bit more like thicker fur in general. But even that's really not too bad. It's still actually no, it still looks really good. A lot of that, I think, is like the technical limitations of the CGI at the time, so that's definitely not a gripe with the show. Everything else looks amazing. The models look fantastic. The animations are really good. Just seeing their sheer size compared to humans is really emphasized here, which is absolutely awesome. And it's really cool to see like two males kind of go at it like modern day deer do. So yeah, another beautiful one. And again, the colors look really good. You'll see this image right here. Those kind of like darker, almost stripes towards the back on the animal's hump, and just like kind of like a chin strap up here. Looks very good. I love it. Very fantastic. After that, we have Extinct, that was released in 2001. Anatomically, this looks fantastic. I think that the fur, especially around the animal's neck, looks really good. The antlers in particular look fantastic and are incredibly detailed. And it does have the hump, of course. The only thing is that if the color does seem a little bit off. But to be fair, who knows how much individual variation came with colors like this. Like, what if these ones are simply just a little bit more melanistic? I guess, I don't know. The females also look fantastic. Both are represented very well here. The only thing that might possibly be off are the colors. What killed the mega beasts? All I can really find in reference to this animal through an image is this image right here. Very high quality. It's like the best quality that you've probably ever seen in an image. Anyway, the colors look great. The overall proportions, it's a whole build, looks great. No notes. Everything looks great. It looks like a megaloceros. Before we ruled the earth, we got a herd of them, kind of like being chased off chased off of a cliff by early humans. Uh, Very good. They look really good. They do bugle, which is like the noise that elk make. You know, those really loud whistling noises. They use a bugle tooth to pull off those noises. That's likely a reference to their nickname of the Irish elk. Again, they are not elk. They are more related to the fallow deer. But, I don't think we really have a good idea of their vocalization, but I'm sure that elk bugles are a little bit more unlikely. Other than that, they look great. No other notes. And then in Soria, during the winter weathered episode, we get a few of them and they get attacked by a Nanuqsaurus, which is really cool. That's a cool crossover that you wouldn't see in nature, so love that. The females look fantastic, and the males also look fantastic. This is a great, portrayal of their colors. You know, those lighter browns, especially around the head, the black stripes just kinda like, towards the animal's back and around its chin. All of it looks really great, and so do the antlers. So once again, Dead Sound pulled it off very well. Now, this one comes from a recent Christmas movie known as Red One. I myself have not seen it, but on Facebook, I follow Dr. Dean Lomax, who is a paleontologist. He posted an image of the reindeer used in that movie, and he drew the parallels or like drew the connections between those reindeer and Megaloceros, which I don't know if they intended for them to be Megaloceros. They are huge in this. Their antlers look a lot like Megaloceros antlers, but they could just be stylized reindeer. Either way, I'm including it because come on. So yeah, I just wanted to point that one out. And it's a Christmas movie, so it works out for our theming. And now we have Carnivore's Ice Age, and I have a few of these fellas here so we can get a good idea of what it looks like. All around, pretty cool. There are some differences from it and the real-life animal, mainly the coloration and the lack of a pronounced hump, and seemingly the antlers are a little bit smaller, but honestly, antlers grow and stuff like that, but of course they all have relatively small antlers, but it is still. It does very much look like Megaloceros. It is a giant deer. Like, look at the size of this one in particular. But they do come in different sizes. A lot. They actually kind of get smaller as it progresses. I did not plan that at all. It's kind of beautiful, really. Look how tiny this fella is compared to that massive one over there. Oh, you gotta love good coincidences like that. But yeah, I like it. Technically it's an alien. I know that. Just an alien that looks a lot like Megaloceros. But yeah, I think it does capture the animal. So it accomplishes its mission. So very good. In Jurassic Park Builder, this one looks pretty good. It's incredibly stylized for the game that it's in. A little bit more, the proportions are a little bit more different, but it does have those massive antlers that look great. The colors also look pretty great, depending on what level you are, of course. And look at this face. Isn't that the funniest face you've ever seen? Had to include that. I just had to. Jurassic World, the game. Not bad. It really does look like the animal, complete with those incredibly huge antlers with a very interesting shape on this model in particular. The color is pretty uniform, very deer-like, of course, very different from the real-life animal. I like how it just kind of like used its antlers to scratch itself right there. That was pretty cool. That all looks really good. Of course, when you level it up, it gets more interesting coloration and things like that. Right here you get a few more stripes and I think some added fur, but then once you get to level 30, 31 to 40, you get this very interesting looking creature with really absurd just antlers, just absurd antlers with that being from an animal that already has absurd antlers. Plus, the colors look really interesting, too, and with some different stripes and all that. But yeah, I think it gets the idea of Megaloceros pretty well. So, pretty good. And now, Jurassic World Alive. I really like this one. I like the texturing of the fur. I like the way that those antlers look. I like the colors. I like how they're a little bit more reddish with that white stripe going down the middle and the kind of black fur on top. It looks really good. It looks very much like a deer, and it looks like the animal. It does lack a little bit of that pronounced hump, but all around, very good. Very good depiction right here. Like, I do quite like it. In Ark Survival Evolved, this has to be one of my favorite creature designs in the whole game. It looks so much like the animal, it's crazy. Both the male and female, they look fantastic. Of course, there's a lot of variation in the color, I believe, because I'm seeing a lot of different colors here, but most of them are just kind of like a solid brown coloration that's probably a little bit too dark for Megaloceros. But that aside, the everything looks great. It's got an overall huge build. It's got that hump. It's got massive antlers, which are they might be a little bit bigger here or not because Megaloceros did have huge antlers, but all around, they really killed it with this one. By far, one of my favorite Ark designs. You know, I'm so glad that we're doing this video because now I learned about it. And now we have the always impressive Prehistoric Kingdom. Megaloceros was recently just added to this game, and I've talked about it quite a bit. I love it. I think that they did a really, really good job at it. For Megaloceros in particular, you get 3 different models with different color schemes, and they all look great, I think. I think that there was a lot of really good, like, creative liberties taken with this. We got this one that is overall a lot darker in coloration. I really like the blends of, like, the whites with the kind of grays and the browns. It looks really good, especially on the antlers. So all around, that's fantastic. Same goes for the female, too. That goes for all of these. I think the female model looks just as good as the male model. This one seems like it's a little bit more in line with a fallow deer, mostly with those spots back here, but the front kind of looks like it's a little bit more in line with an elk. So it's kind of like a combination of like the animal that it's actually most related to and the animal that's kind of named after, you know, the Irish elk. So that's interesting. But it looks great. It's a fantastic combination, I think. And then over here, this one is a little bit more in line with what we know of the animal, you know, what the cave art tells us, you know, what current reconstructions make it look like. All of them just look beautiful. So now there's nothing left to do but to see them in the wild. Made this beautiful enclosure for them. By the way, go and check out the video where I made this enclosure. It's a pretty decent watch, you know. Look at them. Look at them. That just look awesome. Look at that. Look at those animations. Look at that. Look at how they're just like running through everywhere. I've seriously been obsessed with them. Oh, look at all these guys all together. Got a herd of Megaloceros just running through. But you see what I mean? I think that they look so good. Those animations look fantastic. Texturing looks really great. The colors are incredible on all 3 models. Both for the males and females, and I'm glad that there is, of course, some sexual dimorphism, which I think it probably goes without saying that that was going to be included. Ooh, look at this one. Kind of like wading through the waters. Very good. And yeah, this is the one that's a little bit more like a fallow deer. So those colors look great on the animal, though. Submerging itself in the water. Oh yeah, and I like the noises that they make. They kind of like make these type of grunting noises. It's something that's distinct from most deer noises that we see, like what most documentaries and shows and things would make them sound like. Like oftentimes we'll hear them sound like, you know, an elk or maybe a moose or something like that. And as far as I can tell, that is the vocalization in this game isn't really present on any deer that we have today. Unless it sounds like a fallow deer, because I admit I don't know what a fallow deer sounds like. So if you know what a fallow deer sounds like, be sure to let me know if that sound right there is what it sounds like. Here, do it again. Give them some reference. Someone do it. No, I talked over it. There, that sound. Is that what a fallow deer sounds like? Because I don't know. But they look really good. Anyway, let's see what Nigel has to say. He has nothing to say right now, so we'll get the ball rolling. Listen to line 2.
Although the suffix "cerus" is commonly translated to horn, deer-like Megaloceros have antlers, not horns. The difference is that horns are covered by keratin sheaths, while antlers are pure bone.
Some knowledge on horn and antler anatomy, the differences between them. But yeah, again, I've gushed about this model a lot, so I should probably move on. 10 out of 10, no notes, looks beautiful. And there we have it. That was the Irish elk. Some very cool depictions here they all remain very consistent. And that makes sense. Similar to the mammoth video, we have a very good idea of what Megaloceros looked like in life. It's one of those animals, like, the Ice Age animals, as we call them, they are a lot closer to our timeline. And so because of that, we get like really well preserved specimens, or we get cave art. We get a lot of really good things that like clue us into the way that these animals looked and acted in life. And the fact that we have deer today really helps with that, because that's a modern analog that is likely very close to the way that Megaloceros was in life. So it's very cool to see that consistency across the board. I liked all of these, really. There's not really one that I disliked or even was indifferent to. I think that they did a really good job across the board, and Megaloceros is one that I've had like on my mind for the longest time. In fact, it's been on my mind so much recently that I drew the son of a gun. Uh, it's okay, maybe the antlers are a little bit too small on this, but yeah, I've been trying to get back into paleo art, or I say back into it. I used to draw a little bit when I was in high school, but nothing too crazy. I want to like establish paleo art, so I've been kind of like just doodling wherever and whenever I can. I don't know. Anyway, that was Megaloceros. That was the Irish elk. Very cool animal. One that I think could be talked about a little bit more. Very cool. Huge deer, massive antlers. Where can you go wrong with that? But anyway, that is pretty much all I have for this one. If you guys enjoyed the video and you like prehistoric content, please consider subscribing and liking the video. That really does help out a lot. I also do have a Patreon and other social medias linked below if you want to follow me elsewhere or help support the channel. Everything is very much greatly appreciated. But until next time, thank you guys so much for watching, and have an awesome day.